Hello the Pioneer viewers. We continue to bring you details about the Russia-Ukraine war. The war continues on the front with all its reality. In the background, many important developments are taking place. While these developments make significant contributions to the course of the war, criticism increases at the same rate. It is very important to keep the people together in times of war. Periods of war also bring along critical governance processes. For this reason, politicians should not make moves without the support of the public. Politicians who lose the support of the public become less and less popular. The most prominent feature of periods of war is the necessity to make difficult decisions quickly. Economically, socially, and psychologically, wars wear people down. And when they have nothing left to lose, they show the biggest reaction to the rulers. Following Russia's invasion attempt against Ukraine, social opposition in Russia has been mobilized. A significant part of the Russian population does not embrace the ongoing war in Ukraine. Many Russians say that the war in Ukraine is Putin's war, not Russia's. Putin's authoritarian rule has been in place for many years. Opposition movements have been gaining strength in Russia for some time. In the past, well-known figures of the opposition movements disappeared with suspicious deaths. Today, the opposition has spread to the grassroots of society. For this reason, it has become more difficult to suppress and prevent. The images shared on social media in the past few days showed the level of reaction of the Russian society. It is known that the welfare level of the people decreases during times of war. But in the images posted on social media, an elderly Russian woman makes important statements. Now, if you are ready, let's examine the criticism against Putin and the opposition movements in Russia. As the Pioneer, we continue to report on the Russia-Ukraine war. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so that you don't miss our daily map reports and reports on the agenda. I also read all your comments on our videos. Please continue to share your ideas about our content in the comments with us in the comments. Tell us in the comments what content you would like to see on the Pioneer channel. Let's start if you are ready. The Pioneer reports. A video shared on social media recently reached thousands of people in a short time. In the video, an elderly woman was speaking about how she was fed up with Russian President Vladimir Putin's rule. After the video was shared, many Russian citizens supported the woman with comments. Many comments were shared stating that Vladimir Putin is the biggest responsible for the bad situation in Russia. As the Russia-Ukraine war approaches its second year, the conflict continues to take a heavy toll on the lives of millions of people, especially their livelihoods. According to Alexander Prokopenko, a former Russian central bank official, the conditions of war are causing Russia to spend more on its war in Ukraine while draining resources from the rest of the country's economy. Defense spending accounts for almost a third of Russia's total 2024 budget spending. In addition, social spending, including salaries, pensions, and social benefits, will account for about a fifth of the budget. These ratios show how bad Russia's economic indicators are. Recently, Anton Gyashenko, an advisor to Ukraine's interior minister, shared a video of an elderly Russian woman discussing her frustrations with Putin in the midst of the ongoing war. The old woman heavily criticized Russian President Vladimir Putin, saying that everything has reached zero. The woman said that Putin urgently needs to leave Russia alone. Stating that she is 82 years old, the woman said that she has been through a lot and has seen wars before. The woman who said that in previous wars everyone was hungry and the people of Russia lived by supporting each other says that this is not possible today. She said that in previous wars, when everyone was hungry and thirsty, something was produced together, but now there is food in stores, but no one can buy it. The elderly woman's criticism comes after a mechanical failure at a munitions factory in Moscow last week caused tens of thousands of Russian citizens to lose heat and water in freezing temperatures. The malfunction caused heating problems. Some have resorted to making videos of themselves reacting as they grapple with sub-zero temperatures. In one of the clips shared by Gyashenko earlier this month, some Russians said they were freezing and had no choice but to heat their homes with gas stoves, heaters, and anything else they could find. Some citizens with heating problems lit fires in the streets to keep warm. The ongoing problems in Russia are causing public reactions to grow. Expressing their reactions to Moscow, Russian citizens want the war to end as soon as possible. People in Russia, which is excluded from the international system and subjected to embargoes, seem to be quite complaining. Failed attempts at the front also weaken Moscow's hand. Military failures, difficulties in recruiting troops, and economic problems are seen as a sign of collapse for the Kremlin. While things are getting worse in Russia, another important news came from NATO. Preparing to take important steps against Russia, NATO is putting a big plan into effect. In 2014, NATO leaders convened in Wales after Russia annexed Crimea and encouraged armed rebellion in Ukraine's eastern Donbass region. One of the decisions taken at that meeting was to allocate 2% of GDP to military spending by 2024. The other side of the war and its security dimension is the growing backlash against Russia among NATO members. All NATO members bordering Russia have almost reached the 2% commitment. In Europe, important measures are being taken against Russia's aggressive behavior. On the other hand, the source of the problem in Russia is to be completely eliminated. Developments behind the front line keep the agenda very busy. Political developments constitute another dimension of the war. The war taking place in the middle of Europe also occupies an important place on the world agenda. For this reason, international developments are of great importance for Ukraine. Similarly, an intense conflict continues on the front line. Recently, the statements made by the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine revealed important gains of the Ukrainian defense. According to the statement, there were approximately 127 combat clashes on the front line. Russian troops suffered heavy losses in the clashes. In addition, the Ukrainian Air Force of the Armed Forces of Ukraine carried out 5 attacks on the locations of Russian troops and military equipment. Do you think the rising opposition in Russia will be successful? How do you evaluate the criticism of the old woman against Putin? What do you think is needed to solve the problems in Russia? How do you interpret NATO's security efforts? Do you think the war could spread to a wider area? We care about your opinion. Please share it with us.